Have you ever wondered what really lurks behind the dazzling lights of Hollywood? Beyond the red carpets, designer gowns, and radiant smiles lies a world the industry desperately tries to hide, a world of irreversible scars, shattered dreams, and haunting regrets. This is the dark side of beauty. A side paved with desperate choices, risky shortcuts, and surgeons' knives promising perfection but delivering horror. In a culture that worships youth and flawless appearances, even the brightest stars can be consumed by fear of aging, the hunger for approval, and the cruel judgment of cameras that never blink. Today, we're going to peel back the glamorous facade and expose the unsettling truth about some of the most infamous cosmetic surgery disasters in celebrity history. From frozen, mask-like faces to lives forever altered by unlicensed practitioners, these stories aren't just gossip, they're cautionary tales of vanity pushed too far. You'll hear about a Russian beauty queen who couldn't close her eyes after a botched procedure. A Mexican legend whose radiant face was distorted by baby oil injections. A woman who lost her arms and legs because of industrial silicone pumped into her body. And artists who treated their faces like canvases, paying with endless pain. These aren't just celebrities, they're human beings who gambled with their bodies, often under crushing public scrutiny and personal insecurity. Their suffering is real. Their warnings are chilling. So stay with us. Because by the end of this video, you'll see that chasing beauty without caution can cost everything. Fame. Health. Dignity. Even life itself. If you think you know Hollywood's darkest secrets, think again. What you're about to hear will challenge your ideas about beauty, freedom, and the price of perfection. Ask yourself, is it really worth it? Julia Tarasovich. Imagine staring into the mirror and seeing a stranger staring back, one you can't even recognize, whose eyes won't close, whose face is frozen in agony. That's the nightmare Julia Tarasovich, a 43-year-old Russian beauty queen, was forced to live after seeking perfection. Julia had always been admired for her striking looks. In Russia, beauty contests, modeling, and public attention had become part of her world. But like so many drawn into the ruthless spotlight, she felt the relentless pressure to stay flawless, to hold back time itself. She believed a little touch-up here and there would help her stay competitive and desirable in a youth-obsessed society. Driven by this insecurity and the industry's cruel expectations, Julia decided on a series of cosmetic enhancements: eyelid surgery, eye correction, and liposuction. These were supposed to refine her features and make her feel confident again. But instead of subtle perfection, she was left disfigured and in pain. Her face swelled grotesquely. Muscles stiffened. Worst of all, she lost the basic ability to close her eyes, a cruel twist of fate for someone who once thrived on her captivating gaze. The physical horror was matched only by emotional devastation. Julia felt betrayed by the very professionals she trusted. She sued the surgeons, Andrei Kau and Omar Khed, accusing them of negligence. But they dismissed her suffering, blaming a rare skin disorder called scleroderma, a condition she insists she never had. Their defense only deepened her sense of violation and helplessness. Desperate to regain her face, Julia spent vast sums on corrective treatments. But doctors told her the damage might never fully heal. She was forced to reckon with the terrifying possibility that her once celebrated beauty was lost forever. The public reaction was a mix of sympathy and horror. Many were shocked at how easily even a glamorous life could spiral into tragedy with a few poor choices and the wrong hands holding the scalpel. Her case ignited debates about the ethics of cosmetic surgery and the need for stricter medical oversight. Julia's story stands as a dire warning: chasing beauty without proper research, caution, and humility can destroy the very thing you hope to preserve. Would you risk your own face for the promise of perfection? Tell us what you think in the comments. Lin May. Picture the glow of the spotlight. The roar of the crowd. The sense that all eyes are on you and will judge your every wrinkle. That was Lin May's world. Born Lilia Guadalupe Mola May, she was Mexico's dazzling dancing queen in the 1970s. Her beauty lit up stages across Latin America. Fans adored her sultry performances and expressive face that seemed to hold both mystery and allure. But even for a beloved icon, time is merciless. As the years passed, Lin May felt the cold breath of age on her shoulder. In a world where youth sells tickets and sustains careers, she became deeply insecure. Worse, she carried a personal burden, a facial deformity from birth she had always wanted to fix. She hoped modern cosmetic surgery would save her image, extend her fame, and heal old wounds. But in chasing that dream, Lin May put her faith in the wrong hands. She trusted someone she believed was qualified, someone who told her the solution was simple. A quick injection to the cheekbones. She didn't know it was baby oil. That's right, baby oil, something that had no place inside the human body. What followed was a tragedy of shocking proportions. Instead of smooth, youthful cheeks, her face contorted into severe, grotesque distortions that grew worse over time. Multiple attempts at corrective surgery couldn't undo the damage. Her once beloved visage became nearly unrecognizable, a cruel reminder of one reckless moment of misplaced trust. Fans were horrified. The public's reaction mixed heartbreak and outrage. How could something so horrific happen to such a beloved figure? Her downfall became a chilling warning shared in hushed tones about the dangers of unregulated cosmetic procedures. Lin May's story isn't just about vanity. It's about the desperation that fame and society's impossible standards can breed. It's a solemn reminder that chasing beauty without proper medical guidance can lead not to rejuvenation but to lifelong regret. Would you ever risk trusting an unqualified practitioner for the promise of eternal youth? Carol Bryan. Now imagine watching your face slowly collapse into something monstrous and knowing it was your own decision that started it all. That's the haunting reality Carol Bryan had to face. Carol was 47 in 2009 when she first decided to refresh her look. It seemed like a safe, even sensible choice in a world where aging women are pushed aside, told to stay forever young or risk becoming invisible. She wanted only subtle rejuvenation, a softer forehead, plumper cheeks, the kind of gentle enhancement that would keep her looking vibrant. But the dream turned into a living nightmare. The procedure went horribly wrong. Instead of FDA-approved fillers, doctors injected a dangerous cocktail, including silicone, directly into her forehead and cheeks. Her face didn't look younger. It became grotesquely swollen, painfully tight, distorting her once beautiful features into something monstrous. As days turned into weeks, the swelling wouldn't go down. Instead, it hardened and spread. Every time she looked in the mirror, she saw a stranger, a cruel parody of her former self. Terrified, she sought help, but reversing the damage proved impossible. Her world closed in. She became a recluse, hiding away, seeing only her daughter, too ashamed to face anyone else. At her lowest point, she even considered ending her life. In 2013, she finally underwent a massive reconstructive surgery in a desperate bid to reclaim her face. But that came at an unthinkable cost. The procedure left her permanently blind in one eye after damaging the optic nerve. Even after further skin grafts and implants, she could never go back to the woman she used to be. The public's reaction was one of horror and compassion. Her story made headlines as a sobering cautionary tale. How could something so routine, so popular, go so catastrophically wrong? Carol Bryan's experience is a chilling reminder of the real risks lurking behind glossy advertisements and smiling before and after photos. Cosmetic procedures aren't casual beauty treatments, they're serious medical decisions that can alter lives forever. If it were you, would you risk everything just to look a little younger? Share your thoughts below. Tara Jane McKenzie. Now picture someone determined to become a living doll. Perfect. Flawless. Plastic. This is the unsettling journey of Tara Jane McKenzie, a 33-year-old from Melbourne who proudly calls herself a real-life Barbie. From an early age, Tara was captivated by the dream of aesthetic perfection. Growing up in a world where the Barbie ideal was everywhere, from magazine covers to social media filters, she internalized that message: perfection was not just desirable, it was essential. As an adult, she turned that fantasy into her reality, no matter the cost. With over $85,000 or 200,000 Australian dollars invested in surgeries, Tara transformed her body piece by piece. She underwent 5 breast augmentations, each larger than the last. 6 nose jobs to achieve that tiny, sculpted profile. Endless rounds of Botox and fillers to smooth every imperfection. Each procedure seemed to take her further away from the girl she was and deeper into the fantasy of being an upgraded Barbie. But the dangers were always there, lurking beneath the surface. Doctors warned her repeatedly about the risks, especially given her low body weight and the strain of massive implants. But Tara was undeterred. Her goal was extreme. She aimed for a breast size of 15C, pushing the limits of what her body could safely handle. Despite the warnings, she flaunted her dramatic look on TV shows like Botched and Mirror Mirror, unapologetic and defiant. She loved the attention, the validation of her new identity. But behind the bright lights, questions loomed about the true price she was paying, physically, emotionally, even psychologically. The public was mesmerized and horrified. Viewers debated fiercely: was she brave for pursuing her vision without compromise, or reckless for risking her health in the name of vanity? Tara's story is a stark reflection of our culture's dangerous obsession with aesthetic perfection. It's a reminder that sometimes, the quest for beauty becomes an addiction, one that can consume everything in its path. Would you ever go this far to match an ideal? Or is there a line you wouldn't cross? Tell us in the comments. Stay with us, because coming up are even more shocking transformations, including a rock star who had 300 surgeries, and a woman who lost all 4 limbs chasing the perfect figure. Don't look away. Pete Burns. Now imagine being so devoted to your artistic vision that you turn your own face into a canvas again and again, at any cost. That was Pete Burns, the unforgettable frontman of Dead or Alive, whose extreme journey through cosmetic surgery became as famous as his music. Pete wasn't just another pop star. He was an icon of the 1980s, known for his electric energy, piercing eyes, and flamboyant style that defied gender norms. But for Pete, performance was more than music, it was identity. He wanted to be truly unique, to embody art itself. And so, he turned to surgery to shape himself into a living masterpiece. It all began innocently enough, with a single nose job to refine his look. But that one procedure sparked an obsession. He pursued transformation relentlessly, undergoing nearly 300 surgeries over his lifetime. Each new operation was another brushstroke on his evolving self-portrait, but also another gamble with his health. The consequences were severe and unrelenting. He suffered repeated infections, painful complications, and endless corrective procedures to fix what previous surgeries had damaged. Doctors warned him repeatedly about the risks. But Pete was defiant. He saw his body as his own to sculpt, no matter the cost. Despite the suffering, he refused to back down. He appeared on talk shows, in interviews, defiantly unrepentant. To him, it was about creative freedom, about being unapologetically himself in a world that demanded conformity. But beneath the bravado was also a man in constant pain, both physical and emotional, a prisoner of the transformation he chose. When Pete Burns died in 2016 of natural causes, he left behind not just unforgettable music, but a tragic legacy of surgical excess. Fans mourned the artist who gave everything for his vision, even his health, even his peace of mind. His story stands as a haunting reminder that self-expression, while beautiful, has limits. And that chasing a radical ideal can turn the body into a battleground. Would you ever risk your health for artistic freedom? Or is there a point where the price is simply too high? Share your thoughts below. Don't go anywhere, because coming up is a man who transformed himself into a tiger, and a fashion mogul whose face became her brand's most controversial signature. Stay till the end for the most shocking revelations. Dennis Avner. Now imagine wanting to become something more than human. Something primal. Something wild. Dennis Avner, better known as Stalking Cat, dedicated his life to transforming himself into a living tiger. Dennis wasn't a Hollywood celebrity in the usual sense. He was a Navy veteran and computer technician from Michigan. But he became world famous for one of the most extreme cases of body modification ever recorded. His journey didn't come from simple vanity or aging fears, it was rooted in something deeper, spiritual, and profoundly personal. At 23, Dennis sought spiritual advice from a Native American elder, who told him to follow the ways of the tiger. He took those words literally. What began with elaborate tattoos soon escalated into a radical, lifelong commitment to living as a human-animal hybrid. He didn't stop at ink. Dennis underwent 14 intense surgical procedures, including subdermal implants to create feline contours, ear reshaping to mimic a tiger's, rhinoplasty for a cat-like nose, and even a mechanical tail. Each procedure was a painful, risky, and expensive step further away from his original identity and closer to his vision. Despite his shocking appearance, Dennis maintained a career in tech and became a media curiosity. He appeared on Larry King Live, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and even earned a Guinness World Record for the most body modifications to resemble an animal. But beneath the media spectacle was a man whose devotion cost him more than money. The physical toll was immense. Multiple surgeries carried risks of infection and permanent disfigurement. The social cost was even higher. Many saw him as a sideshow or a freak, unable or unwilling to understand the spiritual purpose behind his choices. Dennis himself struggled with loneliness, alienation, and mental health challenges until his death in 2012, widely believed to have been suicide. Public reaction was conflicted, some admired his uncompromising dedication to his vision, while others saw it as a disturbing cautionary tale about the limits of self-expression. Dennis Avner's story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about identity, freedom, and the true cost of becoming what you believe you're meant to be. Do you think total freedom over your body is worth any price? Or should there be limits for our own safety? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned. Next, we reveal the legendary fashion mogul who turned her own face into an icon of controversy. And it only gets more shocking from here. Donatella Versace. Imagine being the face of a fashion empire where perfection isn't optional, it's demanded. That's the world Donatella Versace inherited, and the one that shaped her extraordinary, controversial journey through cosmetic enhancement. Donatella is more than a designer. She's the living embodiment of the Versace brand, bold, unapologetic, and instantly recognizable. From a young age, she was steeped in her brother Johnny's glamorous world of high fashion, luxury, and rebellion against the ordinary. At just 11 years old, she began lightening her hair, already learning that beauty wasn't natural, it was created. As she rose to the top of the Versace empire, Donatella felt the relentless pressure to keep reinventing herself. In the cutthroat world of haute couture, aging is seen as a weakness. Lines and wrinkles aren't signs of wisdom but flaws to be erased. To maintain her power, her allure, her mystique, she turned to the surgeon's office as often as the design studio. Botox, fillers, laser treatments. Each procedure added another layer to her iconic look: sharp cheekbones, smooth skin, dramatic lips. The transformation was deliberate, even aggressive. Donatella didn't want to blend in or look natural. She wanted to be unmistakable, to embody the daring, provocative spirit of Versace itself. But not everyone admired her choices. Critics called her face plastic, unnatural, even grotesque. Tabloids mocked her, while fans debated whether she had gone too far. But Donatella remained defiant. In an interview with Love magazine, she dismissed the idea that natural beauty was somehow morally superior. For her, beauty was about confidence, about control, about expressing yourself on your own terms. Her unapologetic stance is both inspiring and cautionary. It forces us to ask whether our pursuit of perfection empowers us or enslaves us. When does transformation become self-erasure? Donatella Versace's story is a testament to the power of personal branding and fearless self-expression. But it also warns us about the high stakes of turning our faces into living logos, about the emotional and social costs of defying nature in the name of style. Do you think beauty should be about self-expression at any cost? Or is there a point where authenticity matters more? Tell us in the comments. Stay with us, because up next is a story so harrowing it will leave you speechless, a woman who lost all 4 limbs chasing the promise of a perfect figure. Don't miss what's coming. April Michelle Brown. Now imagine wanting to feel beautiful so badly that you put your life in a stranger's hands and wake up to find you've lost everything you once took for granted. This is the devastating story of April Michelle Brown, whose pursuit of the perfect figure ended in unimaginable tragedy. April was vibrant, ambitious, and, like so many women, self-conscious about her body. She dreamed of curvier hips and a fuller silhouette, the kind she saw celebrated everywhere from magazines to music videos. She believed that enhancing her figure would help her feel confident, desirable, and empowered. But legitimate cosmetic procedures were expensive and out of reach. And so she sought a cheaper alternative. She trusted someone who claimed to be able to give her what she wanted for less. It seemed so simple. Just a few injections. No fuss. No hospitals. No questions asked. What she didn't know was that the substance being injected into her body wasn't medical-grade filler, it was industrial silicone, the same toxic material used to seal bathroom tiles. The results were catastrophic. The silicone caused massive infections that spread rapidly through her body, threatening her life. Doctors were left with no choice. To save her from certain death, they amputated both her arms and both her legs. Imagine waking up in a hospital bed, realizing your limbs are gone forever, all because of a beauty shortcut. The physical pain was unbearable, but the emotional agony was even worse. April endured 27 surgeries in total, each one a battle to survive. She had to relearn how to live, how to move, how to find purpose again. Yet somehow, she found the strength not to retreat into bitterness. Instead, April chose to share her story with the world. She spoke openly about the horror she suffered to warn others about the dangers of unregulated, black market procedures. She wanted to make sure no one else would pay the same irreversible price. The public was stunned. Many wept for her. Others were outraged that such dangerous, unlicensed practices even existed. Her story became a rallying cry for greater awareness and regulation. April Michelle Brown is now a living testament to resilience and courage. But her experience is also a chilling reminder: the pursuit of beauty without safety, without informed choices, can steal everything from you, even your limbs, your independence, your dreams. Would you ever risk it all for beauty? Or is there a point where you say enough is enough? Share your thoughts below. Don't go anywhere, because next, we'll reveal shocking stories of beauty gone wrong at even the most casual settings, and transformations so extreme they challenge our very idea of identity. Stay with us. Rachel Napier. Now picture trusting your friends, your doctors, even your own instincts, only to find yourself fighting for your life because of a casual choice you thought was harmless. That's the chilling reality of Rachel Napier's cosmetic journey. Rachel wasn't a celebrity chasing fame or wealth. She was an everyday woman who, like so many, just wanted to feel beautiful. Her story began with excitement and optimism. A successful nose job had given her new confidence. She felt empowered, in control, ready to refine her look further. Emboldened by that early success, Rachel decided on more enhancements: breast augmentation, a facelift, regular Botox sessions, liposuction. Each time, she sought that elusive ideal: youthful, sculpted, flawless. In a world that rewards the young and perfect, it seemed almost logical to maintain that polished exterior at any cost. But things took a terrifying turn. During what should have been a routine Botox session, Rachel suffered unexpected and dangerous swelling. It was frightening, but she recovered, determined not to be deterred. Then came the moment that changed everything: a lip filler session at a party. It was supposed to be quick, fun, easy, like a beauty treatment among friends. But the person doing the injection was unqualified. In seconds, Rachel's lips began to balloon grotesquely, swelling so much she could barely breathe. Her heart raced as panic set in. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors had to dissolve the filler immediately to prevent permanent disfigurement or worse. The physical pain was only part of the trauma. The betrayal cut deepest: she had trusted someone she shouldn't have. She had treated a serious medical procedure like a party trick. The shock of that realization haunted her long after her lips returned to normal. But Rachel refused to stay silent. She chose to become an advocate, using her experience to warn others. She speaks candidly about how easy it is to be seduced by cheap, convenient options without asking the right questions. She pleads with people to do their research, to prioritize safety over cost or convenience. The public listened, horrified and grateful for her honesty. Her story resonated especially with those tempted by the casual, social approach to cosmetic procedures, a dangerous trend in today's influencer culture. Rachel Napier's story is a sobering reminder that even the smallest beauty choice can have devastating consequences if treated carelessly. Would you risk your health for beauty if it meant cutting corners? Or do you believe safety should always come first? Tell us in the comments. Don't go anywhere, because coming up are stories even more extreme: a man who called cosmetic surgery an addiction, a timeless star who defied the scalpel, and a living cartoon come to life. Stay with us until the end for the most controversial transformations. Jordan James Park. Now imagine looking in the mirror and seeing your idol staring back, not by accident, but by design. This is the dramatic, controversial story of Jordan James Park, the so-called British lip king who turned cosmetic surgery into an obsession. Born in Birmingham, Jordan didn't grow up dreaming of subtle tweaks or minor improvements. He wanted transformation: radical, unapologetic, headline-grabbing change. Inspired by the famously sculpted face of Kim Kardashian, he set out to remake himself in her image. For him, beauty wasn't just about looking good. It was about becoming someone else entirely. At 27, Jordan's journey hit a terrifying low point. A botched lip procedure left him disfigured and in pain, landing him on the reality show Botched in 2015. Many would have taken that as a warning to stop, to reconsider. But not Jordan. He didn't retreat. Instead, he doubled down, embracing his quest as an identity, even an addiction. He openly compared cosmetic surgery to an endless cycle he couldn't escape. Each procedure promised perfection, but also led to more dissatisfaction. It was a hunger that could never truly be satisfied. Over the years, Jordan has undergone numerous operations, multiple nose jobs to get the perfect profile, liposuction to sculpt his body, eyelid surgery for that dramatic gaze, lip lifts and chin implants to sharpen and redefine his features. His face became a canvas for his relentless self-reinvention. Doctors warned him repeatedly. Friends worried. The public watched in fascination and horror. Some saw him as a bold pioneer challenging beauty norms. Others saw a young man destroying himself in the name of vanity. His extreme look provoked heated debate about the role of cosmetic surgery in personal identity, and about where self-expression ends and self-destruction begins. Yet Jordan remained unrepentant. He insisted that beauty is personal, evolving, and no one else's business. He stood firm in the belief that everyone should be free to reshape themselves as they see fit, even if it means risking their health, their finances, even their very sense of self. Jordan James Parks' story is a powerful mirror held up to society's shifting ideals. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about body autonomy, social influence, and the very definition of beauty itself. Do you think the freedom to transform yourself should be limitless? Or do you believe there's a danger in chasing perfection too far? Tell us in the comments. Don't go anywhere, because next, we look at a Hollywood legend who chose grace over the knife, and then a woman who literally turned herself into a cartoon character. Stay with us for the most jaw-dropping stories yet. Barbara Eden. Now imagine spending decades in the spotlight, aging before an audience that demands you never change. For Barbara Eden, the beloved star of I Dream of Jeannie, the choice was both simple and radical. She refused to let the scalpel define her. Barbara was born in 1931, a true child of Hollywood's golden age. She lit up the screen with that iconic smile, the playful sparkle in her eyes, and a beauty that seemed almost magical. For millions of viewers, she was Jeannie, the ageless, enchanting Jeannie who never grew old. But in real life, time has no mercy, even for icons. As the years passed, whispers inevitably began. Could she stay so radiant without help? Fans speculated constantly. Was it Botox? Facelifts? Filler? But Barbara herself never confirmed anything. Instead, she seemed to embrace aging on her own terms, with elegance and dignity that defied Hollywood's often cruel standards. While many of her contemporaries fell victim to frozen expressions and unnatural contours, Barbara's face remained remarkably expressive. Her skin carried gentle lines that told stories of laughter and life. Her eyes still sparkled with the same mischief that had made her famous. And her figure, still graceful, carefully maintained, seemed to reject the idea that time alone could steal her charm. Some say her beauty is the result of good genetics. Others credit disciplined self-care. But whatever the truth, what stands out is Barbara's quiet refusal to surrender to the industry's harshest demand, that a woman must never age. Instead, she showed that real allure can transcend time without surrendering to extremes. Public reaction to her has always been filled with admiration. Fans marvel at how she's maintained not just her looks but her dignity, refusing to become another cautionary tale of excess. She offers a rare Hollywood example of aging with grace, proving that charisma, talent, and authenticity outshine even the smoothest skin. Barbara Eden's story is a gentle but powerful warning. It tells us that beauty doesn't have to be about fighting nature tooth and nail, risking health and happiness in the process. Sometimes, the most compelling beauty is the kind that accepts time's passage with open arms. Do you think it's better to age naturally or fight every wrinkle? What would you choose? Tell us in the comments. Don't look away, next we'll reveal a woman who removed her own ribs to look like a cartoon character, and finally the most infamous Catwoman transformation in history. Stay with us for the shocking finale. Pixie Fox. Now imagine wanting to look so unreal that you'd do anything, even reshape your very bones, to become a living cartoon character. This is the astonishing, unsettling story of Pixie Fox. Pixie wasn't content with simply being pretty or glamorous. She wanted to be extreme. Iconic. She dreamed of turning herself into a real-life caricature, an exaggerated, stylized fantasy of beauty with impossible proportions. Her vision wasn't just unusual, it was downright surreal. From the start, Pixie made it clear that she wouldn't accept ordinary standards. She didn't want to look natural, she wanted to look manufactured. She underwent dozens of procedures, jaw reshaping to give her that impossibly delicate face, ear modifications to achieve an elf-like look, countless rounds of fillers and implants to perfect every curve. But her most shocking choice was the removal of 6 ribs to cinch her waist to a cartoonish, almost inhuman hourglass. Doctors pleaded with her to reconsider. Some outright refused to perform more surgeries, citing grave health risks. But Pixie was undeterred. She saw herself not as a patient but as an artist, her body the ultimate canvas. No warning could shake her resolve. The physical consequences were harsh and constant. Her extreme body modifications made even simple things, breathing, eating, moving, more complicated and risky. But to Pixie, it was worth it. She flaunted her new form online, in interviews, in modeling gigs designed to provoke and mesmerize. Public reaction was fierce and divided. Some admired her unwavering commitment to her vision, calling her a fearless pioneer of self-expression. Others recoiled, calling her choices grotesque, self-destructive, even tragic. Debates raged about whether true freedom meant being allowed to harm yourself for the sake of beauty. Pixie herself seemed unfazed by the controversy. She framed her journey as a statement on modern identity, that we now live in an age where technology and medicine let us transform ourselves into anything, even our most outlandish fantasies. She challenged the world to accept that beauty could be anything, no matter how extreme. Yet her story also stands as a stark warning. It shows the dizzying new frontiers of cosmetic surgery and asks us to consider whether just because we can transform ourselves so completely, we should. Do you think there should be limits to how far someone can go to change their body? Or is it their right to do anything they want? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay with us, because next is the grand finale, the most infamous transformation of all. The woman whose feline features made her a global legend and sparked endless debates about beauty, obsession, and identity. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Now imagine becoming so famous for your face that it stops being your own. That every glance, every photo, every headline calls you by a nickname you never asked for, Catwoman. This is the haunting, unforgettable story of Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn was born into privilege and glamour, but she wasn't always the tabloid spectacle she would become. Once, she was known for her striking features and socialite lifestyle, married to billionaire art dealer Alec Wildenstein, mingling with the global elite. But behind the parties and wealth was a woman determined to hold on to love, status, and youth in a world that prizes them above all else. The story goes that her obsession with feline beauty began as an attempt to please her husband, who reportedly admired big cats. Whether the tale is fact or legend, it speaks to a painful truth: the pressure to reshape oneself for another's approval can be devastating. Over the years, Jocelyn's face changed dramatically. Sharp, stretched, and contoured into feline-like angles that seemed to defy human anatomy. She has always insisted that much of her appearance is simply her natural look, but experts and the public have been skeptical. Plastic surgeons point to signs of multiple facelifts, eyelid surgeries, cheek implants, and other procedures designed to sculpt her into something both mesmerizing and unsettling. The public's reaction was relentless. Tabloids made her their favorite spectacle. Her nickname, Catwoman, wasn't said with kindness. She became a symbol of surgical excess, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones about the dangers of going too far. Yet Jocelyn never publicly backed down or admitted regret. In her own way, she remained defiantly herself, refusing to apologize for a look that had become part of her legend. But behind the tabloid photos lies a far sadder truth. Jocelyn's transformation raises questions about what society does to women, how it punishes them for aging, pressures them to compete for love and attention, and then mocks them when they try too hard. Her story is more than just gossip. It's a tragic reminder of how easy it is to lose yourself, literally, in the pursuit of an impossible ideal. Would you ever change yourself for someone else's love or approval? Or do you believe we should be loved as we are? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay with us to the end, because next is our powerful conclusion, a final reflection on these haunting stories and a warning for us all. Don't miss it. So after hearing these stories, each more haunting than the last, what are we really left with? Not just gossip. Not just shock value. but a grave lesson that cuts to the heart of our obsession with beauty. These are human beings who paid the ultimate price for perfection. Their faces and bodies became battlegrounds. Their dreams turned to nightmares. Some lost their identities. Some lost their health. Some lost their limbs, their vision, even their will to live. All in pursuit of something society told them they needed to be loved, admired, and relevant. Hollywood and the beauty industry thrive on these insecurities. They promise transformation. They sell hope in a syringe, a scalpel, a payment plan. They tell us we're not enough unless we're flawless. And for many, the pressure is too much to resist. But these cautionary tales show us the truth. That beauty can't be manufactured without consequences. That perfection is an illusion. That behind every smooth forehead or sculpted nose might be a story of pain, regret, and irreversible loss. It's easy to judge these celebrities. To call them vain, reckless, even foolish. But look closer, and you'll see they were victims, too, of impossible standards, of predatory practitioners, of their own fears of being unwanted and forgotten. These stories should make us question our own choices. Would you risk your health for a perfect selfie? Would you trust an unqualified stranger for a discount procedure? Would you chase an ideal that might destroy you? Or would you dare to age naturally? To embrace imperfection? To see beauty in authenticity? We hope these stories stay with you. We hope they make you think twice before chasing shortcuts. Because in the end, true beauty isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance. About self-love. About staying safe and being wise enough to know that no ideal is worth your life. If you've watched this far, thank you. Your thoughts matter to us. Tell us in the comments, which of these stories shocked you most? Which made you reflect on your own choices? And where do you think we should draw the line when it comes to beauty? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you found this important. Let's keep this conversation going, because the more we talk about it, the safer we all become. We'll see you in the next video. Stay safe. Stay informed. And remember, real beauty starts with loving yourself.